I'm not. Um, I want to be as nice about this as I can, but you must hit the like. You have to. I have control over your computer and your finger, and you're moving it close to the yes button and click. Dark Brandon commands it. Just saying. So, I'm scared. You should be. So, let's jump straight in. This is, ladies and gentlemen, this is from Donald Trump's own Rumble channel, Trump Live Super Tuesday something or other, and it's him being on RSBN, I believe.
The young soldiers yelled from the back of the room, "Mr. President."
Oh, by the way, I think they're playing a loop of Sarah Huckabee Sanders talking.
We are live. Mar-a-Lago with President.
You're off by a little bit. Somebody already said 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you. Classy, right out of the gate. That's good, thank you. I'm just gonna sit here with the Illuminati hand gesture that nobody seems to mind when I do it, but when Obama does it, it means he's a baby eater. And you're the one fucking Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? You poor, poor man.
I like that.
Are they? Honest to God, that's a small, very refractive room, or they're playing a tape of USA, because not everybody there is yelling it, and it's pretty loud. So I'm guessing mostly it's the crew, campaign staff on the camera side.
Very good. Very nice. As we get ready to kick off Super Tuesday tomorrow, it's my honor for the next president of the United States, Donald J. Trump, joining us for the next 45 minutes or so to talk about Super Tuesday.
All right, I'm already bored. Never mind. Okay, moving on. I'm just kidding. It's going to be stupid. This is just... I actually want to, if I can, I want to take a look at... Oh, 64K. Look at that. Got Facebook. So yeah, there's my... Thank you so much, CSL.
It's going to be great. It's tomorrow. It's 15 states, and I hear North Dakota's coming out tonight, and I think we're going to do very well there. The governor's fantastic and too good.
North Dakota, I'm great in any state that has fewer people than Santa Monica, California.
Senators, and they're going to be announcing those results in about an hour.
Some people even say it's twice the size of half of Brentwood.
So we might not make it for this show, but I think they'll be good. And we've set records, as you know, with almost every state, just about every state we've been in.
No, you haven't. No, you haven't. First of all, whoever ran unopposed set the fucking record. They ran unopposed. Dum-dum. That literally, and by the way, the reason this is before Super Tuesday. So this is a younger Donald Trump who, didn't know he'd lost Vermont. So let's be abundantly clear. All the people who ran unopposed, like fucking George H.W. Bush, kicked his ass compared to, Super Tuesday, just for the record, because they didn't even have to compete, for fuck's sake. Right? It's just stupid. All right, here we go.
We started with Iowa, and we went to New Hampshire, and we were just...
Yeah, like everyone else.
Knocking them dead. New Hampshire, we had the most votes in history. Iowa, we had the...
No, he didn't. No, he didn't have the most votes in history. He won by the biggest margin because of low turnout.
Biggest margin in history times 2. And Nevada was record, all records. I mean, something's really fantastic happening out there, Brian.
Something's really fantastic happening. Something's happening that's really fantastic, or something fantastic is really happening out there, or some fantastic things are happening out there, Brian. Or you could say this. You could, hold on, sorry.
Every state, just about every state we've been in. We started with Iowa, and we went to New Hampshire, and we were just knocking them dead. New Hampshire, we had the most votes in history. Iowa, we had the biggest margin in history times 2. And Nevada was record, all records. I mean, something's really fantastic happening out there, Brian. And
It's been something's really happening fantastic out there, Brian.
we're very happy to be a part of it, all of us together. We're happy to be a part of it.
Yes. What, you and Eric?
The country wants help. They're screaming for help. I really believe it, with millions and millions of people coming in illegally, and they're coming from places unknown, and they're rough people in many cases.
Well, how do you know? They're from places unknown. How do you know they're not from a really, like a cloud cuckoo land kind of soft, happy joy place? Why would, if you don't know where they're coming from, how tough can they be?
From jails, prisons, from mental institutions, insane asylums. Insane asylum, that's Silence of the Lambs stuff.
As opposed to mental institutions?
These Hannibal Lecter. Anybody know Hannibal Lecter? We don't want him in this country.
Hannibal Lecter, I think, was Welsh, judging from his accent.
And terrorists are coming in.
Tourists? Really? Well, that's terrible. Apparently, we have a big pro-turd problem, I think.
Purge the anti-Semitism and pro-terrorism. What you're doing?
Is that a rough word for him?
These Hannibal Lecter. Anybody know Hannibal Lecter? We don't want him in this country. And terrorists are coming in at numbers that we haven't seen in many, many decades. It's crazy what they're doing. It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense whatsoever.
Well, what you're saying makes no sense. So, perfect.
And we're going to turn it around. We're going to stop it. We're going to drill, baby, drill. We're going to get our prices down.
Yeah, nothing takes care of terrorism like oil drilling. That's what are you gonna? We're gonna backfill the empty, spent wells with the corpses of terrorists from insane asylums.
And we're going to close up the border, and we're going to have a big deportation, and we're going to get bad people out of here.
By the way, the applause is kind of loud, but his his voice is really low. I don't know why.
Because we can't have it. We just can't have it. No, this is not sustainable by any country ever at any time. There's never been anything like it. 3 years ago, we had the safest border, the best border in the history of our country by far.
3 years ago, Joe Biden was president. Just saying, at this point, 3 years ago it would be March of 2021.
There was never anything like it. When I ran in 2016, it was very much about the border, but that border was like a baby compared to this border.
That border was like a baby compared to this border. I mean, I don't even feel like I have to explain that one. It's so clear and not crazy or stupid at all. That's how people speak words when talk. Yes. Make words with face. Yes. That border was like a baby. Sure.
This border is a disaster, but I fixed the problem and fixed it so well I couldn't even talk about it in the 2020 election. And yet we got millions of more votes. We actually did much better. I hate to tell you, we did much better the second time than we did the first time.
Yeah, but Joe Biden did better than any president elect in the history of the country, largely because of the stack of the Obama voter. On top of that, people recognized the threat that you were finally. And, of course, mail-in voting made it easier for everyone to vote. And by volume, that's one of the reasons why Republicans are against mail-in voting, is because the volume of voters. 1-to-1, Democrats win every single fucking time. That's why they got to shut it down. Yeah.
And we don't have to get into what happened, but we all know what happened. It was a rigged deal, a terrible
You're not supposed to get into it, dum-dum.
thing. Terrible, terrible thing. And now you look at from inflation to Ukraine and Russia, which would never have happened, to
right, because he would have just given Russia Ukraine.
Israel being attacked. None of these things would have happened. It was inflation was caused by energy.
Yeah, they would have.
And by stupid.
Yes, they would have. I'm just saying. Yes, they would have. That was Russia was planning it. They were constantly attacking the Donbass in that area the entire time he was president. He never got us out of Afghanistan. And the whole plot for October 7th was launched when he turned over the Golan Heights to Israel and recognized Jerusalem as the capital and moved the embassy there.
You have Afghanistan. I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, the way we left. Not that we were leaving. I was leaving, but we were going to get out with dignity and strength.
Yeah. What was it? The great dignity and strength plan of 2021? What the fuck does that mean? I've been back and forth so many times about him saying, you know, it was embarrassing because he's incapable of feeling shame, but embarrassment scares him because he's got a weak ego. And so the word, you know, that's why I keep saying embarrassing. It makes no fucking sense, but that's where it comes from. He had no plan to get us out, and we now know he was planning on staying. He wanted to keep Bagram, and you don't keep Bagram and leave. You can't stay and leave. We learned that from the Golden Child. Stay, leave. What are you going to do? I'll stay here. No, you stay here now. But if anything happens, you leave. I don't want you to get hurt.
We were going to have the equipment. We were going to keep it. We gave them $85 billion worth of
No, we didn't.
Equipment. You see what happened. They.
I love when all I have to do is mention the Golden Child. People start throwing lines in. I want the knife. I want the knife. Please. I'm going to let that go because you're a very old and wise and disgusting man. You're just going to wipe that booger right on your jacket. All right. Okay. I'm going to let that go because I understand it's your way.
Killed 13 of our people, and 38, nobody ever mentions this, but 38 have been hurt so badly. You know.
Name one. Name the family of one. I'm sure you've met with at least one of them, right? Name one.
With the arms and the legs and just obliteration.
With the arms and the legs, just obliteration. It's amazing. You're right. You know what? I take it back. He does have the best words, and he can just say them, I suppose, at random. If they're the best words, you don't have to certainly coordinate them into grammatically correct sentences. What a waste of great, majestic, powerful, important, and clear words. Just say them however you feel like. Just throw them out there. Just scatter them like seeds.
It's so sad to see what's happened to our country. So we're going to turn it around, and we're going to do it faster than anybody can imagine.
Yes, you know that whole under 4% unemployment? He's going to turn that shit around. Fix that right away. We need to get back up there to like 9% so these rich assholes don't have to pay anybody a living wage.
And we're going to make America great again.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. It is. We've got 854 delegates are up for tomorrow. So if you were to clinch
854 what?
It is. We've got 854 delegates are up for tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I thought. 854 delegates. Motherfucker. Dude, way to fuck it up, man. I tend to spend a few minutes shitting on how this asshole can't talk and he claims the best words, and then you gotta fucking dunk on him with delegates.
So if you were to clinch this early, this would have been on pace for what it was in 2020 when you didn't have anybody running against you.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, in 2020 you didn't lose any states, I don't think.
You didn't have all these lawsuits against you.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel about a party if we've come together?
And you still lose Vermont tomorrow. I'm just spitballing. What if that would happen? What if I was to tell you right now that tomorrow it's not going to be a sweep like it was in 2020, and you're going to get about 60-40 in most places, and that 40% that's voting against you has already said, fuck you, they're not voting for you no matter what. Some of them are going to vote for Biden. Others aren't going to vote at all because they fucking hate you. How would you feel? How is that different? Explain to me how that's different from 2020.
To get you this nomination by March 17th.
It's been pretty amazing, actually, and it's a lot of love. There's more love now, and I think a big...
She's great. He's moving into his lounge singer phase, you know. That's what we got today, ladies and gentlemen. There's a lot of love today. We need love in this. When the shark bites, when its teeth... Come on, it's the love of the peace, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm...
Part of it is when I ran the last time...
When I ran the last time. Son of a bitch. This is going to take me all night if I do this fucking. I'm going to have to bail on this early. Say again?
March 17th.
It's been pretty amazing, actually, and it's a lot of love. There's more love now, and I think a big part of it is when I ran the last time.
Yeah, when I ran the last time. And I ran so far away. Rand Paul couldn't get away. Back. When I ran last time.
We had a good record. We had the best economy ever. We had all these fantastic things that had
Also, just generally bullshit.
happened. We had the safest border ever. We had low.
No, thanks, COVID. Yeah, again, dude, you can't claim fucking safest border ever. You lost 1 million fucking Americans. People were dying hand over fist, and most of them were your supporters.
Energy prices. Everything was going right. We were rebuilding.
Yeah, I remember that. You guys remember 2020, right? Everything was going right. We were totally riot free, and I mean, like you could go anywhere you wanted, do anything you wanted. It was like this weird kind of like social Wild West. It was like we were all living at Burning Man. Just we're all rolling.
Our military, which I completed, we finished. We did everything right. It was amazing. And now,
did you? You did everything right. It was amazing. Well, then I guess a good portion of Americans just don't know a good thing when they see it. They must be, I don't know, fucking dumb.
We have something to compare what we're doing against. We didn't really last time because we were doing well. I said the border was in great shape. I couldn't even talk about the border. They'd say, sir, don't talk about the border. You fixed it, and nobody wants to hear it. You know that?
You're boring people with your bull. Nobody wants to hear about the border right now because no one's coming to America because we have more cases than anyone in the Northern Hemisphere. What are you talking about?
That's the sad part. When you do something well, nobody wants to talk about it.
Gee, but please tell me more about Bidenomics.
So I didn't talk about the border. But now we look back.
So that was a mistake, is what you're saying? Because you fucked up, you lost, so you should have, I guess?
And we see that we had a great border. We look back and we see we had a great economy.
Yeah, good idea. Just say what you said just now again.
Had no inflation, essentially no inflation.
Yeah, we had deflation. Fucking prices were crumbling. Oil was negative $35 a barrel, you dumb motherfucker.
Everything was good, and we did.
It was. I mean, let's all think back to 2020. Everything was good. It was like, you know what it was? It was like God created the Trump presidency, and he looked and saw that it was good.
Did such a good job. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country.
Jesus Christ. That's the third time he said it.
Probably in the history of the world. And now we have a horrible economy where inflation has hurt us probably close to 50% when you add it all up.
No, it hasn't. We do not have 50% inflation, fuckwad. Yeah, so what you're telling me is we've got 50% inflation in the United States, if you add it all up, and still the American consumer will not stop spending because I guess Joe Biden, like a dick, has let wages go up to compensate. What the fuck? 50% inflation?
Told a little while ago, bacon went up 4 times in the last 3 years. I mean, 4 times what it was.
Where were you told this? Also, you do realize, you swine flu motherfucker, that you personally sold China the largest order of pork in American history, basically everything we had, and the pigs that went with them, like the processed pork and the actual fucking pigs, because swine flu wiped out hundreds of millions of Chinese pigs. So you arranged as part of your fucking phase 1 deal to give them all our fucking pigs and pork. And then shockingly, once the nation starts to go out again and people are deciding, like, I'm sick of cooking at home, I'm going to go have a BLT in an actual restaurant, suddenly the price of it goes up. Well, that's weird. And then it's normal. Yeah, I know. Seriously, for fuck's sake.
And other food products are through
Other food products.
the roof. And
well, that's the way I like to eat them. They taste better when they go through the roof. Jesus Christ.
And they stay there. They're not going down. They may bring inflation down to 4%, 5%, what it is now.
It's 3.2%. Wage growth is almost 5%. That's why it's at 3%.
But they're not bringing down the damage that's been caused. And you take that, even if you get increases in salaries or whatever you may be doing, whether it's salaries or anything else.
Whether it's salaries or anything else. This is the addendum he puts on, like, whatever you want to call it, when he's run out of, like, either the actual name he can't remember, so he kind of posits other variations of the name he's heard, or some racist version of the name, and then says whatever you want to call it. This is the other variation of that strategy, that linguistic strategy. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about, but if I say everything, I got to get something right.
It's more than compensated for by the inflation, which is just ripping people apart.
More than compensated, motherfucker. More than compensated by the inflation, which is just ripping people apart. That's why we didn't have a Super Bowl this year. Everybody was just home, torn to pieces.
So the economy is terrible, and they say, and some real geniuses, I will tell you.
Oh boy.
Some of the smartest people on Wall Street say the only thing good is the stock market, and that's good because everybody thinks I'm going to be elected.
You're right.
Okay, first of all, if you buy stocks months before an election based on an idea that this motherfucker is going to do something to the business world that's going to magically turn shit around when it's already up, you're a fucking lunatic. Like, that, as an investment strategy, that's insane. That anybody who's like, yeah, as soon as he's president, man, January 21st, 2025, he's going to implement policies that within the following 3, 6, or 9 months is going to turn the economy around, and it's really going to kick in. So I'm going to buy stocks at a high point right now because they're just going to double. We're at 38,000, and it's going to double between now and then, like, and I guess midway through 2025. Is that the idea? What the fuck?
You're right. You're right on that.
It's been very interesting. It's an interesting
Story. I tell you,
time.
Well, we've talked,
it's an interesting time.
and you have the Biden administration trying to convince Americans that life is good. President Trump, that everything's affordable, but they know Bidenomics has destroyed it.
Yeah, all these people behind you are they're having to CG clothes onto them because they're so fucking. They all showed up in burlap sacks. All the men were wearing barrels.
It's been a disaster. It's a bad term. They thought it was.
It's been a disaster. It's a bad term. The word disaster or the period of time?
It was a bad term when it came out, and then Biden liked it. He thought it was a nice name, and he started using it, and he was getting killed because it was really meant as a negative, not as a positive.
And yet he turned it around, and now it's neither.
And we have Maganomics, right? Maganomics.
Woo! Maganomics, which is what? Giant tax cuts for corporations and any tax cut for individuals will expire, and
that is a good time. It's so interesting. It's got to be one of the great names because you look through branding, whatever you want to call it, but
whatever you want to call branding. Propaganda, PR. I guess I could call it several things. Yeah, what the fuck is Maganomics? No idea. He doesn't know. Again, you would think that they would have a strategy that he could articulate from, I guess, Art of the Deal or something like that. Like, Maganomics is just a national version of my economic strategy that I used myself in Art of the Deal, right? That even if it's bullshit, you'd think, I'm too good at this. You'd think you could at least shape your message, right? Yeah? Reaganomics was all just tax cuts the whole time. Just a tax cut on top of tax cuts.
Look throughout history, I don't think there's ever been anything like this. There has never been a movement like this.
Well, I mean, there was, but it was in German.
Possibly in any country, but there's never been a movement like this in our country. And the spirit,
Well, I mean, the Confederacy comes to mind. Does that... I mean, one of your motherfuckers carried the Confederate flag into the Capitol alongside, I guess, a bunch of the other people who were carrying Trump flags. So I guess it's kind of a uniform, or a crossover that would in ideologies.
love and the positiveness. And remember, when
The positiveness.
they hit us and they say, we're going to stop this MAGA stuff, MAGA, that's Joe Biden. And I say, Joe, what is it? Define it. And he's unable to define it. I guarantee if you ask him, what does MAGA mean? He wouldn't know. It's make America great again, right?
Okay, asshole. He knows what it stands for, but it doesn't mean that. Like, it may come from those words, but on a material level, by the measurements, it's not that. MAGA isn't actually the MAGA methodology, the MAGA mentality is not going to make America great again. If anything, it's make attorneys get attorneys, or MAGAs are getting anxious. But other than that, it doesn't actually. I mean, in the greater sense, it stands for it in terms of the letters and the words that you're repeating, but it doesn't actually stand for anything except neo-Confederacy. Because that's what the MAGA movement really is. I mean, if you really look at Marjorie Taylor Greene as kind of the standard bearer, that's what she's fucking talking about. That's a neo-Confederate belief system. It is, the feelings about immigrants is what the Confederate felt about black people in general. It's the same kind of overlap. They will absorb some of the folks that are in the country that are like-minded with them, but if they could, they'd get them all out. It's the same shit.
So it's been a pretty amazing time. Really
Okay.
pretty amazing time.
Let's talk about the polls. Now, polling is huge right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of polls out that you're just absolutely destroying it, and you're set to, break every records right now so far.
Yeah, except you don't. Except it doesn't actually work though. And one of the records he's not breaking is fundraising.
Virtually every player in the Republican Party has endorsed you at this point, which is huge. Now, why do you think you have such...
Which is Hughes? Did he get Hughes' endorsement?
Destroying it, and you're set to, break every records right now so far. Virtually every player in the Republican Party has endorsed you at this point, which is huge. Now, why do you think...
Yeah, it is Hughes. I think it's Hughes that they've...
You have such political strength right now.
Can't you just correct it? Can't you go, which is Hughes, huge? Everybody fucks up a word. Just fucking fix it. Just, Jesus Christ, man. It is not Hughes. There's nothing Hughes about it. There's no shades about it. No broad color palette that involves Hughes in any way. It's not Hughes. It is not Hughes. It's not Howard Hughes. It's not Coleman Hughes. It's not. It is not Hughes. Fucking lighting. It's not. All right.
Because I think
It's not Phillips Hughes.
we did a great job, and people are longing for that period of time that we had just a little while ago. Was it
Yeah, that's the thing.
The past wasn't that long ago.
long? And the beauty is, I heard just coming up, I was hearing a telecast, and they said 8 months. I said, I've been using 9 and 10. We're so close now. We're actually getting close.
I've been using 9 and 10 until the March 1st happened, I guess, is that the idea? So you were, I'm to understand that you weren't aware of how much time is between now and the election. You were just using 9 and 10 all the time until someone went, it's actually 8 months. How long have you, did no one stop you when it was 14 months away?
The one thing I will say is, and I say it in speeches, that if you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country.
The one thing I will say.
And you added them up, they have not done the damage that Joe Biden's done in his presidency. It's a disaster. He's been a
Well, A, most of them are dead. And also, he hasn't done damage. So,
disaster. He's the worst president in history. He's the most corrupt president in history. Most incompetent president in history. I don't
and yet he kicked your ass. It's weird.
know if he's going to make it to the starting gate, but if he does, he does. And if it's somebody else, it's somebody else. But there's never been anything like this. There's never been anything happening to our country. What they're doing is they're poisoning our country by allowing people to come in by the millions. I believe.
Yes, poisoning. They were going back to the poisoning of the blood of our country.
We have 15 million people now, and I think it could be close to 20 million by the time this whole horrible nightmare ends.
So, okay, so there are 11 million plus when you came into office. By the time you're out of office, it's 14 to 15 million. It's now, I guess, we're 3 years into Biden, and that number is increased by 1.5 million by the math that you're doing. And between now and November, another 5 million people are going to storm across the border. That's how it's gonna work. That's how it's gonna. Then I would argue pass the border bill. I think if it's gonna be that bad, this is like the biggest fucking caravan ever.
And we're going to have to just solve that problem.
Sure. How? That would be the crucial part. I think a lot of people sitting on fucking stools and bars and diners across the country think we got to solve that problem. But the person running for office should be the person with the how, with the can, with the method. I know. I'm an insane person. That's crazy. Why would anybody actually why would he have to present a solution to it? Do this, and this, and that would fix it.
We talked about this earlier about enthusiasm, and I often say that I think there's more enthusiasm this time around than it was in 2020. Now,
said about this thing, and also you're seeing smaller crowds of angrier people. So last time you had the maggots, and then you had kind of a soft version of the Republican Party around them, kind of cushioning the cry. So you got 6,000 people, and half of them or 3/4 are saying USA. There's it doesn't carry as much when you got the extra padding of the people who aren't chanting. You get rid of half of those people, and it's only the people who are like USA, USA. Then I can see why you would think there's more excitement.
President Trump, when
Spew it.
you walk out to these rallies, and you saw it in Greensboro, then you saw it in Roanoke just a couple.
You saw how the audiences are nowhere near the size you had in 2016, and even a pittance compared to what you had in 2020. And you see how on multiple occasions you had a hard time filling a high school gymnasium. And it's going to be. How do you feel about that?
A couple days ago. Do you sense more enthusiasm from MAGA and the crowds and just the support that you get? Is it greater this time around?
When you looked at North Carolina and Virginia this weekend, I tell you what,
The audio's glitching again for some reason. I'm being attacked, aren't I? Son of a bitch. Son of a bitch. I don't know why that is. Sorry. Let me see what I can do. Sometimes if I switch channels and I go back to here and then I come back to that, it straightens out. And I'm not quite sure why. But
never been, and we've had rallies that are massive rallies. I've never seen love and, excitement. Even this crowd, I just walked in, and I don't know if you...
Dude, it's Mar-a-Lago. You know half these motherfuckers. I mean, not by name, obviously. You're just like, hey, guy.
Caught it on air, but this crowd is a very nice crowd. This is a very...
Bush League. Bush. Fucking Bush. Even he could feel the energy starting to flag. Nobody has a crowd like the Mar-a-Lago people. Is Mar-a-Lago great? Aren't you guys having a great time? I mean, there's no open bar, but fuck you people. I got bills to pay.
It's our people.
The longer they clap and scream, the less I have to talk.
Thank you very much. But you know, it's very interesting because the New York Times did a poll that just blew them up. It just came out.
It just blew them up? You mean blew them away?
And they announced it, and we're way up, leading big against Biden.
We're way up, leading big.
And one of the questions they ask is enthusiasm. How enthusiastic are you for Biden, meaning Democrats or whoever? And the numbers are record low. There's very little enthusiasm.
But they're going to vote because that doesn't give nobody gives a shit. You only get one vote. You don't get like, I'm louder. I get to vote twice. And for the record, I would like to say, if I may, I have a tremendous amount of enthusiasm. I'm excited to vote for Joe Biden again. Fuck you.
And very enthusiastic. That's a term. Very rarely do you have people very.
Is that a term? I guess it's a term. It's probably a term. It's a term, isn't it? Very enthusiastic. Sure, that's a term.
Enthusiastic. We're up around 50%, and I said,
really? Because you used to be up around 80, right? That's not good.
Boy, that's a phenomenal number to be very enthusiastic about somebody. And then I'll listen to the fake news. They'll say, while both candidates aren't popular, I'm popular. I mean, they like me. They like me in the Republican Party. They do. I like them. But, you know, the fake news they get out there, they like to play it. I don't think he is popular, and he shouldn't be popular because of what he's done to the country. But we have a great love in our party. We have a great popularity.
It's interesting that this is the most I've heard him use the word love ever. And it's weird because it's not a word that he hears, but it's like it does sound like a lounge singer using it. But is anybody else struck by that? It's not just me, right? He's said it like 8 or 10 times.
We had polls where I'm at 94, 95% approval rating in the Republican Party, and
yet you only won 50% of the vote in some states, and you lost fucking Vermont. That's weird. It's almost like you're paying for polls. Huh.
I beat Ronald Reagan, who's at 86%.
No. Ronald Reagan got reelected.
I mean, we're very popular in this party. This party is, and whether you call it MAGA or Common Sense or Trump or whatever it is.
Yeah, or whatever it is.
This party is very unified, surprisingly unified.
No, it isn't. Dude, you just shaved off 60% of an electorate you had 90% of just 3 years ago and change.
But it's pretty amazing, and that's why we're doing well. And to go to your original part of your question,
To go to your original part of your question, motherfucker.
Never seen enthusiasm like this, including, so we ran in 2016 and we did great, and we won. We ran in 2020, we did much better by almost 12 million votes. 12 million votes, that doesn't happen. Usually if somebody runs a second time, they get less. And they can win or lose, but they get less because, you know, people get bored and they get tired and they said, let's give somebody else. But normally get less, or they get a little bit more. President Obama got a lot less and he won, a lot less. But rarely do you.
Yeah. But everybody was able to vote by mail. And it's amazing the turnout when people don't have to, like, show up at a polling place and wait in a long fucking line all goddamn day because they happen to be black and poor in a particular area, when across town there's some equally broke fucking redneck asshole who's a Republican who has like 13 machines that are fucking pristine and he's in and out in 5 goddamn minutes, right? It's amazing when you sidestep that and you can just put your ballot in the mail or put it in a drop box. Wah fucking la. You don't have to waste your a whole day, especially if you have to work.
You see it where you get massively more, and we have massively millions and millions and millions more votes than we had. So, you know, than we had in 2016. Now, We were at 63 million. That was a lot in 2016. I was told.
Oh, by the way, this is his. So, my theory, working theory, if I may, is that somebody in his circle said, we can buy you some votes. We can financially arrange. We can engage in massive voter fraud, where we get people to just print ballots and gather them up for you, and especially in states we know you're going to win, like Texas and other places like that, where we'll just hide the number again. So we think you're going to win the electoral college, but we're definitely going to kill it in the popular vote by just gathering those up. We'll use the fact that we're doing mail-in balloting, and we'll steal votes for you, but we won't even have to do that many. We'll just do like an extra million votes across the country in pockets all over the place. We'll just add them in there, and you get a million more. You're fucking done. You're over the top. Like that'll be enough. You pay us to do that, we'll take care of it. That's the theory.
That if you get the same by John McLaughlin, by Fabrizio, if you get the same number, 63 million, you can't lose. It's impossible to lose.
Yeah, no one told him that. That's fucking stupid.
We got millions more votes than that, and we lost just by a whisker, just by a whisker.
7 million votes.
And that was a rigged election, and it
wasn't a whisker. You fucking whisker anywhere.
It's a disgrace, and we're not going to let it happen again.
Well, one of the...
Also, look, if the Democrats, let's run on that premise. If the Democrats stole the election and fucked you out of it, and they weren't even in power when it happened, what fucking shot do you have if Biden's actually in office? If they stole it when you were the president of the United States, let's just let this idea sit for a second. This asshole wants you to know that while he was president of the United States of America, we had our least secure rigged election in history. While he was president of the United States when we had an election stolen on his watch while he was in charge by a guy who apparently never left his fucking basement and theoretically phoned it in. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, I know, pal. Nobody. Wow. I know that he plans on trying to steal. It's not going to work though, because again, Biden didn't steal it, and the only people who've been arrested for actually voting twice were all Trump voters, all of them. The only people that were arrested or charged with any crime for voting that, in theory, and they don't even say, but they in theory voted for Biden, were people who, thought they had done their time and were allowed to vote after that time because they were out of jail. And they were like, I think I can vote now. And then the cops showed up and they're like, you voted illegally. And they're like, I did what? I thought I was allowed to. Like it was a mistake. Trump got the only vote that I'm aware of where a dude killed his fucking wife and used her ballot to vote for him. And for the record, that story he tells about the old lady with the hat who shows up and she's like all excited to vote on election day, and she walks into the booth and says, I want to cast my vote for Donald Trump as a proud American. And they went, you already voted. Somebody already voted with your ballot. And the lady, instead of calling the police and filing a report, walks away dejected, sad, and upset. Because that's the only way she can keep other people from calling the cops on her for trying to vote twice.
One of the biggest issues that they're polling is our border and how it's...
Our sporter. Yeah, I agree. The sporter is a very big problem. The sporter, is a huge problem. And I don't think I have to tell you guys that. And it's like a third world country song, the sporter, and
so wide open and all the drugs. So you were just in Texas,
wide open and all the drugs.
A couple days ago, we were down there covering that trip. That is polling number one across the country, and I go to every single rally. And
yeah, it's funny how the economy was, and now it's not anymore. Oops. Hey, asshole! Just because it's the number one issue that people care about. That also means that if Biden handles it or takes that issue from you, everything else, they consider him handling it. That sucks for you. This is the last one you got. He said Obama again? I think he meant Biden.
Talk to hundreds, if not thousands, of your supporters, and they tell me, and when I ask them, what is the number one issue with you? And they say, I want President Trump on day one to close the border.
Yep. It's
like Abbott did when he almost collapsed the Texas economy.
number one, and it's usually not number one. Even in 2016, it was
It's number one, and it's usually not number one. Okay, first of all, fucko, you ran on it as your number one issue. That was the whole point. This dumb motherfucker, remember he walked out, and they're criminals, they're rapists, and some of them are good people. He ran on the border then. Of course it was the issue.
2 or 3.
And yeah, you can't close the border. It's just silly.
But it wasn't number one. It's just not like normally a number one issue because
for Republicans, it's been a number one issue as long as I've been alive.
people would think you have at least a semblance of a border. We have nothing. You know,
asshole, you sat right next to it with Sean Hannity. We were able to, you do realize we were able to hear the entire interview. We weren't having to like listen closely because we couldn't make out what you were saying under the din of screaming Spanish.
we built 571 miles of wall, which was a great achievement, much more than I said. Then I ordered an extra 200 because as you fill it up, they start walking a little bit longer distances and go around. So we ordered.
As you start filling it up? Also, access road that they had to build a wall that size is the very reason why migrants can now walk further into area where that was impassable earlier, and they can actually get to private land or Indian land and walk around it.
200 more. We had it. It was delivered. And Biden, we then had the crazy election, and Biden wouldn't put it up. They wouldn't. And I said, whoa, what's going on? They wouldn't put it up. And
on private land? They wouldn't enact, they would seize private land and give a portion of it to Mexico. Because I like remind everybody, this motherfucker is the first American president since the time of the Alamo to give U.S. land to Mexico. Where he built the wall, technically speaking, on the southern part, on the southern side of that wall for a few feet, it's American territory. But nobody's doing anything about it. And if you wanted to build a house on it, I don't think anybody'd fucking stop you. So he gave American land to Mexico.
I said, for the first time, I actually said, I really think they want open borders. I couldn't believe it. Because who would want open borders? Where people are coming from parts unknown.
Parts unknown.
Countries that you've never heard of.
Well, those aren't the ones that scare me. I would think most people are scared of the countries they have heard of, like Iran. Isn't that are you supposed to scare people of Venezuela, right? These are supposed to be the scary ones. What if it's a nice place? I mean, obviously I've heard of Transylvania. That would worry me, I guess. Countries I've never heard of, like Afghanistan. Never heard of that, have you? And you never will again, because I couldn't repeat it.
Languages that nobody in this country speaks. We don't even
bullshit.
have teachers of some of these languages.
We don't even have teachers of some of these languages. So what do you think he thinks that is? What an asshole. What do you think he thinks it? I think somebody around him is making jokes about the Africans that are crossing the southern border speaking in cliques, and that's what he thinks is happening. Like somebody made a joke about it, like Stephen Miller, right? Said, and I think he believed it. Not it's just like a snide, shitty thing to talk shit about like Africans that are allegedly crossing the border illegally, that kind of thing. I think that's what he's talking. Yeah. I think he heard that somebody like make a shitty racist joke and believed it.
I think that we have languages that are like from the planet Mars.
Jesus Christ. No, we don't. There's no life on Mars. Dumb fuck.
Nobody knows how to speak it. And then
Well, then it's not a language. It's face noise, you dumb son of a bitch. That's a language. For it to qualify, any noise you make with your face to qualify as a language, there has to be somebody else that speaks it.
these students, and I'm not blaming them, I'm saying they put the students in the place of our students, like in New York City. We have
Okay, there's no one in the New York City school system that speaks a language nobody there knows how to speak. What the fuck are you talking about? Seriously, even the Africans that he says are crossing the border speak fucking French.
these wonderful students. They're going to school. All of a sudden, they no longer have a seat. They're no longer invited to the school.
They're no longer invited to the school. Charles, yes. I'm sorry to inform you. You're 8 years old, and you must. I'll speak frankly with you. Yes, you are now no longer welcome at the school. No, we have given your seat to. And he's going to be learning everything you were supposed to learn. So enjoy staying home and being ignorant. Click. No, I didn't hang up. I just said click. Are you still there, you rat? Poing! Put that down.
Putting migrants in who don't speak the language. They have no idea what the teacher's saying. And we have children that are no longer going to school. They're
No, we don't.
throwing them out of the park. There's no more little leagues.
They're throwing them out of the park. There's no more Little League. What the ever-loving shit are you talking about? Does this guy go anywhere? I'm serious. Does this motherfucker... I mean, this is the kind of thing... You know how, like, Trump ran on the idea that Biden never leaves his basement. And yet this dumb motherfucker talks like he never leaves his.
No more sports. There's no more life in New York, and so many...
Yeah, there's no more life in New York. Yeah, it's fucking zombies everywhere you go. Fucking New York. Anybody got... Hold on. I could probably find footage of New York someplace, you think? Hold on one second. Here you go, chat. Give me 1 second. I'm going to go to... what is it? Let's see. Let's see. Weather bug. Yeah. Let's see. I'll go to, how about Central Park West? That'll do. That's just so sad. Look at that. Hold on. Sorry, this is the, does the cam work this way? Or do I have to, makes it play? Yeah. This is a shot of Central Park West. It's, obviously, those cars are just running their batteries out. There's nobody there. Look at this. That guy's not alive. That's a zombie, clearly. There's two cars. There's a crime. There's some sort of criminal exchange. Look, there's lights back here, but these cars all think, they're all just trying to, they're lining up as like a race to get away from the zombie hordes. These are all traffic cams. Yeah, at Amsterdam in 86, clearly everyone's dead. Oh, Central Park West is doing fairly well. This is the Central Park West and 72nd Street camera in New York City. I'm just saying, just remember, there is no life in this place.
These cities are no longer going to school. They're throwing them out of the park. There's no more little leagues. There's no more sports. There's no more life in New York and so many of these cities. When you have 500,000 people just come down and invade your city, it is a very, very bad thing. And then...
What the fuck are you talking about? First of all, 500,000 people? Jesus Christ. Manhattan has more than, what is it, 7 million in the total outlying area? 500,000 people isn't even going to make a dent in the area. And weren't these guys crowing about the fact how everybody left New York anyways? Maybe there's a bunch of open apartments for all you fucking know.
Many of these people are very dangerous people.
Yeah, only Will Smith still lives there. Yes, him and his dog.
When I see cops fist fighting, I've seen cops over there, they get hit and they get shot and they get everything, and it's horrible.
Yeah, they get hit and they get shot and they get everything and it's horrible.
But I've never seen fistfights. Think of it.
You've never seen fistfights in New York fucking City? You've never seen cops in fistfights? What the fuck are you talking about?
A fistfight. Well, guys are fist fighting with cops.
Oh yeah, there's fisting going on. Fists and fisting. Sorry, Google what? I should Google wait, sorry, 1 second. Google Little League in New York. Is that what is he referring to something there? Hold on, let's check it out. I'm for it. Give me 1 second. Chat. Like and subscribe while you're at it. Let's see. Little League New York City. Something like that. Hoboken, New York City Little League baseball program in Montgomery Poppins. New York wins Little League softball 6 months. Oh. New York wins Little League softball World Series 6 months ago. Downtown Little League, the PSLL Little League, let's see, Batter Up. There you go. Everything you need to know about Little League in New York. Let's see, how about the softball program? I'm looking. I'm trying to find. Is there news about New York City's Little League? Let's find out. Hold on 1 second. This is the current stuff. A tax deduction for Little League 2 days ago. Major League Soccer says New York City FC Stadium update. The cube to create wow moment for supporters of something other. They're starting a new New York housing league. NIMBY's not allowed. Best free things to do in New York. Obviously not Little League because it doesn't exist and no one's alive. How dare you, Telegraph? The best free things to do in New York? You mean be a migrant who gets government aid? That's free, I guess. Major League Soccer announces New York expansion team. Can lame duck Toonshine conjure Champions League magic before Bayern exit? I don't think so. Cleats left behind after Jackie Robinson statue was stolen to be donated to Negro League. What? The bronze Jackie Robinson cleats were left behind when a statue of the first player to break Major League was stolen. This is, oh shit, when did this happen? Hold on. Jackie Robinson statue was stolen. They're going to be donated. Bronze statue of legendary basketball was stolen from a park in Wichita, Kansas during the early morning hours of January 25th, 2024. The bronze Jackie Robinson cleats were left behind when a statue of the first player to break Major League Baseball barrier was stolen from a Kansas park. Are being donated to the Negro League's Baseball Museum. How do you the thieves cut off the statue at its ankles last month, leaving only the feet behind? In Wichita, Kansas. Let's just start this shit with fucking New York being a shithole. Thieves cut the statue. Okay, Bob Lutz, the executive display, also damaged plaque honoring a sign was erected in 2001. It's kind of sad in its own way. Yes, it kind of is. Fire crews found burned remnants of the statue 5 days after the theft while responding to a trash fire. One man was charged this month in the theft. Police said there was no evidence it was a hate-motivated crime, but rather the intent was to sell the metal for scrap. Red states are dumps.
In the street, and that's not as...
That's what they get for giving the guy a hollow fucking statue. Jackie Robinson deserves a solid statue, you bastards.
Bad as being shot. You know what? In a certain way, it's really incredible because...
Hold on, what? Wait, what the fuck?
When I see cops fist fighting, you know, I've seen cops over there, they get hit and they get shot and they get everything, and it's horrible. But I've never seen fist fights. Think of it. A fist fight. Well, guys are fist fighting with cops in the street, and that's not as bad as being shot. You know what? In a certain way, it's really incredible because the nerve of the...
What? Yes, I would agree. Being in a fist fight is not as bad as being shot. Fucking hell. Are you sure, though? Are you sure? Because you've neither, and you seem to be fairly flippant about shooting someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue.
People. And if this happened in their country, they would be gone, they would be shot, and they'd be shot and gone within 2 minutes. They wouldn't allow...
Shot and gone within 2 minutes.
Allow this. But you saw what happened where 10 guys are beating up cops in the middle of the street, kicking them and punching them.
And yet, both of the cops barely had a scrape on them.
These are tough people.
The cops are.
And they're not wanted by their country. And
They're not wanted by their country. Is it? It's just English is the problem. I think that's what we've got to conclude from this. That just the problem he has is just English in general.
we don't want them either. We have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. It's migrant crime, and it's going to reach a level that nobody has ever thought of or seen before.
Well, you seem wishful thinking being what it is you seem hopeful that that's the way to work out.
It's not like this beautiful picture of people coming across the border. These are people from jails and rough places.
Jails and rough places. Parts unknown, speaking languages we don't understand, but just assume that if they're talking like that, they must come from an insane asylum because only a crazy person would make noises like that with their mouth.
And they're rough people. And they're not going to work here. We're going to have a level of crime. We have a crime wave already. They're now getting situated.
No, we don't. Actually, and interestingly enough, as the number of people crossing the border illegally that you're panicking about goes up, the amount of crime has been precipitously going down at the same rate because a lot of that was left over from fucking COVID bullshit. So explain that. Explain that crisscross. The argument is more and more migrants all the time. All this, the number's just going crazy. And like that number's going up. And at the same time, you've got crime going down. I'm just saying I shouldn't bring up math.
They're starting to feel comfortable. And instead of being this wonderful, idyllic deal, they're
this wonderful, idyllic deal.
Fighters, and they're killers, and they're drug dealers, and lots of things.
They're fighters, and they're killers, and they're drug dealers, and lots of things. Some of them are cobblers, and some of them massage therapists, and, I'm sure there's at least 2 chiropractors.
Bad things are happening, and we have
to... Thank you for clarifying. You're starting to lose me, but just I would start with bad things are happening and then shut the fuck up if I were you.
To get them out. No country can sustain what we're going through.
Yeah,
Actually, we kind of can. Actually, even at the height of it, we still have more jobs that we need filled than there are people crossing. And I'm not even assuming that they're all coming here to work.
I agree. All right, let's talk about the Battleground state polling since the presidency is won state by state. Now, we checked with Real Clear polling averages yesterday, and here's what's going on right now in these key Battleground states. Now, let's go with Arizona. You're up 5.5 on that. Nevada, 7 points. Wisconsin, the latest poll from Bloomberg Morning.
Yeah, it's funny. These numbers are so close to how McCain was doing against Obama. It's weird.
Council you're up 4 points there.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan up 3.
And then
0.6. North Carolina 5.6. Georgia up 6.5. These are big numbers. And you know what? You talked about this earlier. The inner city, people that might have been agnostic to voting, they see what the policies under the Biden administration is doing to them.
Yep.
And they're
he means black people.
Swinging over. And they're now saying, I'm going to vote for Donald J. Trump in this next election because they're tired of what's happening to him. So these polling numbers do not surprise me at all.
So we're getting the highest numbers ever from African American, Hispanic American, Asian American. Women are looking good. You know, I kept hearing about women and suburban women. Suburban women.
Some women here.
Look, they don't care about their rights. That was a bunch of bullshit.
You know what women want? They want security. They want safety. They don't want to have people pouring into our country. They don't want to have wars where their children are going out to wars.
Yeah, that's not happening.
And think of it. You wouldn't have had Ukraine. I would bet that the numbers are going to be double or triple what you're seeing.
I agree.
That is, blow up those buildings and hear that nobody was injured as this massive. They have.
Okay, he meant the number of dead in the buildings in Ukraine. He goes to this talking point a lot. But this dipshit thinks he means the numbers are going to be triple. The polling numbers are going to be triple. And when he was agreeing with Trump saying that his lead in the polls is going to be triple what he thinks. And yet, Trump just grabbed the fucking wheel and turned the car into a fucking ditch.
Big buildings. As massive buildings are tumbling down to the ground, hit by missiles, you don't say 2 people were hurt, 2 people were slightly injured. No, a lot of people were killed. A lot of people in those buildings.
They left weeks ago. Like, oh, God, I don't even know why we talk about this shit.
A lot of people were killed. The numbers are going to be much, much greater. And when you look at that, To think that would have never happened. I talked to Putin a lot. I had a very good relationship with him. You know, the press goes crazy when you say that, by the way. Oh, you should. It's a good thing to have a good relationship, not a bad. But he understood. He couldn't do the Ukraine thing. And
he couldn't do the Ukraine thing. Come on, everybody can do the Ukraine thing. I've got to work on the hip movement part of it, whatever. But you do this part, and then it you guys know how to do the Ukraine thing, right? It's a little. And then you have to do the Russian bounce jump and then back up, and then it's just a jump to the left.
It was the apple of his eye. He couldn't do it. But when I was out,
it was the apple of his eye. He couldn't do it.
And I think after he watched the disaster in Afghanistan, I think he said, these people are grossly incompetent.
Boy, was he wrong. He was like, these people are grossly incompetent. I could invade and take this place in 6 days. The Americans will do nothing. 3 years later, I've lost almost 500 million soldiers. 500,000 soldiers, almost 500,000 soldiers. Maybe I should go back and look at the tape of Afghanistan again. That was wrong on my part. I think I might have jumped to conclusion.
I think without Afghanistan, maybe he wouldn't have done it. But he looked at that where we take the military out first. We have Americans still living there as hostages, probably.
Nobody's living there as hostages. What the fuck?
Probably. It was handled so badly. We left $85 billion worth of equipment.
No, we didn't.
The best military equipment in the world, because I bought it. You know, I'm the one.
You know about it.
No, I'm the one.
You don't know about it. So let me understand this. You bought, am I to understand that in the 3 years you were president before COVID, you bought $85 million worth of military equipment and sent it to Afghanistan? That's what you're saying. That you, while you were actually there, while you were in office, you want credit for rebuilding the military. During that time, you took $85 million worth of the best American tactical gear. After running, by the way, on getting us out of Afghanistan, you sent $85 billion worth of gear to Afghanistan and left it there. Just figured we'll get it when we leave. I don't know, maybe.
Rebuilt the entire military. We had new, beautiful equipment. And
you sent it to Afghanistan like an asshole. Why would you send the new stuff? What's wrong with you?
They took a big chunk of it. It was one of the worst things. And when Putin and when President Xi of China looks at that and they see it, Kim Jong-un, when they look at it and they see that, they are emboldened. And that's a bad thing.
For them, yeah. If you're saying that Putin was emboldened by us leaving Afghanistan, which only an asshole would. I mean, any real leader would go, oh shit, the Americans are leaving Afghanistan. That expenditure and that distraction is now gone. They've got this huge industrial military machine, and it doesn't currently have a massive target. This would be a bad time to engage in some adventurism, as it were.
I think these strong polling numbers just indicate to everyone, plus the media and those naysayers out there and the people that are the Nikki Haley camp trying to...
You mean the ones that are going to take Vermont tomorrow?
Encourage her to carry on. This says something, that the American people have faith in you and your policies, no one else.
Well, then why does he have 60-40 in his own fucking party?
That can turn this country around.
Well, yes, I wouldn't use the word faith, but I do believe a lot of Americans look at the raging stock market, rising wages, the infrastructure bill, the CHIPS Act, and how we're handling and curtailing Chinese adventurism and the theft of intellectual property and military secrets and all that stuff. Look at all those things that are happening right now because of Joe Biden and think, if Donald Trump was in there, he would turn this car around and reverse those things. Sure.
I've watched, a whole group. They started off with probably 15, and I watched it. One would go, another one. Some were very impressive, like North Carolina. He was great. And
North Carolina, he was good. I didn't get a chance to see North Carolina. Is that Kanye's kid? North Carolina, he was great.
15, and I watched it. You know, one would go, another one. Some were very impressive, like North Carolina.
Doug Burgum.
He was great, and North Dakota, great. We have so many great people.
What? Those are not people. Those are states. I just sorry to say billion with a B. Yeah, 85 billion. Billions and billions and just so yeah, those are North Carolina and North Dakota are not human beings. And you can't remember their fucking names?
I'll tell you, let's go to North Carolina. So South Carolina, North Carolina, you had some people, they fight for me like you've never seen. North Dakota, you have Doug Burgum, the governor. He is so fantastic. He is.
Okay, he can't remember like who he was running against. And so he's just going to fall back on his whole I gave Nikki Haley a job just so I could clear the field for Burgum.
So fantastic. And I'm looking forward to getting that vote. I want to see what it is. But, you know, we have numbers that if the projections are right, we're going to win by a lot. I just say to the people that are watching now, if you could, go out and vote, because it's not Haley, she's not a problem. I think she's very negative for the party, but she's not a problem in terms of winning, because we're winning by a lot. The only place we expected to lose was D.C., because that's the swamp.
Well, and then Vermont.
It's a badge of honor to lose
Oh,
that,
it is.
actually.
We didn't do anything there. We sort of said, leave that alone. That'll be a good, it's a very interesting place. If I want.
Leave that alone. It would certainly be a good, it's an interesting place. Hold on, I got to back up.
To lose that, actually.
We didn't do anything there. We sort of said, leave that alone. That'll be a good, it's a very interesting place. If I
Yeah, that's how you said it. That's a direct quote.
won it, I would have said that could be a problem, because you know, a lot of people would say, what's this all about? But we've won everything in record numbers, and tomorrow we could very well win every state.
Also, again, for the record, no, you didn't. The record number, the top record is ran unopposed and got the nomination.
Record numbers, that's what we're hoping for. But it's so, thank you. It's so important, because we have to send a signal. You know, November 5th is going to be, I think, the most important day in the history of our country.
Jesus Christ. Get over yourself.
Because that's the election.
Oh, that's why. I thought it was just kind of, just felt that way about the fall.
And we're going to take our country back from these fascists and communists and the people that are running our country. And I'm
all three of those groups? Crazy.
not even sure that it is Biden. I think it's other people. It's not Biden, because he goes to sleep at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And they have the best of all worlds, because they have a guy that probably isn't too active, but
He probably isn't too active. He can ride a bicycle. You can't even drive a fucking car.
he's very active when it comes, though, to weaponization and trying to hurt a political opponent through using the FBI and the DOJ and all. And the people haven't stood for it. It's an amazing.
The people haven't stood for it. Jesus Christ. He's just going to, I guess word order isn't a high priority. Do we just write it off at this point?
thing. Who would have thought this would have happened? It's never happened before.
Well, that's because we never had a criminal rapist fuck like you in office before. It's kind of a unique experience.
Well, that's never happened before in this country. But it's never happened before when somebody would have that happen and your numbers would go up. Every time I get indicted, my numbers go higher and higher and higher, because the people understand it.
They understand that.
They really understand it.
Let's talk about a national polling. Yesterday, Forbes had to write breaking news headline that said, quote, Trump opens largest ever lead in New York in the Times polling. So you're polling huge in that. And of course, you're beating Biden 48-43. We talked about this earlier. It's much higher than that.
Yeah, it'd have to be because it's within the margin of error and not true.
This is almost greater numbers than you had in 2015,
Almost.
despite the
Almost.
lawsuits.
And in that one, you lost by 3 million votes, and you only won the Electoral College because a bunch of faux-gressives phoned it in.
Despite how the news is constantly attacking you, you still lead in these polls.
You steal? Don't say steal. You're at Mar-a-Lago. You're probably only, I don't know, about 18 feet from some classified documents.
People get it. The people are very smart. The people get it. I've seen it. And the nice thing is I have a voice, whether it's through you or through others. I have a voice, and I'm able to explain it to people.
Why would that guy be your voice? Isn't he a news person? Aren't they fair and balanced or something? I'm kidding.
It's weaponization, and it's very common in third world countries and banana republics. It's a very common thing, but we never had it in this country where they come out and on nothing, on nonsense. Look at Fani, Fani is F-A-N-I. She indicted me. She wanted to indict U.S. senators for doing nothing. Indicted me for doing nothing.
Well, no, you're on tape doing something.
It was her and a boyfriend, and he got almost $1 million. He had no experience, no nothing. Knew him a long time ago. Then she said something to the effect, I don't know much about the gentleman. They had 2,000 phone calls. I said, I'm not sure I've ever called the First Lady 2,000 times, and I've been with her for a long time.
I guarantee that's true.
I think, and they have thousands of text messages, right? But she's not sure whether or not she knows him. The whole thing is a con job. You look at what's going on in Manhattan where Hillary Clinton, think of it, Hillary Clinton's lawyer with a big law firm leaves the...
Oh, Jesus. We've heard this blather before. This is tiresome. Fucking hell. Can we switch over? Do you guys mind? Normally I would do the whole fucking thing, but goddamn, this is just lazy. It's the same shit. Oy.